Hello everybody, this is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. Today we're going to make a large showy arrangement with bold colors. We got in some of the most beautiful tinted wax flower, and I can't wait to show you how beautiful this arrangement's going to turn out. Watch as I put this together. Today we're going to start out with a glass vase filled with fresh water and a little bit of fresh floral food. I'm going to use some hydrangeas that I'm going to tint with Design Master Just for Flowers tint. So this is fresh green. It's a transparent flower dye. Now the reason is for me personally, when I use bold colors in my flowers, I personally don't love to use white. Now I will, but I think these hydrangeas would be so much more pleasing to the eye if they were tinted green. So I'm going to take my white hydrangeas. Here at Flowers by the Bunch, I have a standing order for white hydrangeas every single week. Now the reason I prefer ordering white hydrangeas is for this reason exactly. I can take and tint my white hydrangeas any color that I need them to be. So instead of having pink hydrangeas and green hydrangeas and blue hydrangeas in my cooler, I can have white and I can tint them all those colors. And we do sell a lot of hydrangeas here, so it works out really well. I'm taking that hydrangea and I just dipped it in Quick Dip. Quick Dip is a hydrating solution that helps to keep my hydrangeas hydrated. So it's just a little boost of energy to help them drink that water. So I'm just taking and I'll cut that stem at an angle and dip it in that Quick Dip for about 7 seconds or so. And then I'm tucking that hydrangea right into my vase. And I didn't tint this one before I dipped it. So Design Master makes all colors in the rainbow of floral paint. Now when painting flowers, you want to use a paint that's made specifically for flowers, okay? It's just going to help. Some of these flowers will not accept paint that you buy at like the hardware store. It just will cause them to wilt. It will cause them to discolor. And I have tried it when I did not have the color I needed. I have picked up paint from like the big box store or the hardware store, and my hydrangeas wilted. So you always really need to be careful and use paint that's made specifically for flowers. Now I have used hardware store paint on foliage, and so it works perfectly. You do not have to worry at all about painting greenery with hardware store paint. It works fine. Greenery is usually pretty hardy, and it will hold that paint fine, but don't, I repeat, do not paint your fresh flowers with regular spray paint. Okay, so the first greenery that I'm using is called Cocculus foliage, which I really like using. It's very hardy, it's a dark green, and it's just really pretty in an arrangement. And it's really showy. See how big and showy it is? Now I have taken it, and if I'm making a smaller arrangement, I will take it and cut it in half, and it works beautifully. Today I'm going to leave it kind of tall and tuck it in to my vase, just kind of around my green hydrangeas. Next, I am going to wait on the rest of my greenery. I'm going to add my flowers, and then we will add greenery at the end. So I am going to use lots of bold colors. I chose, so my reasoning behind choosing these colors is because we got in a beautiful mixed box of tinted wax flower. Now, I am not a huge fan of tinted flowers. I'm just going to be honest with you. It has never been my favorite thing to work with unless it's unless they're tinted and they're more natural tints. But this wax flower came in so fun, and I thought, oh goodness, a bold, beautiful arrangement using all these tinted wax flower would be beautiful. So these colors include a pretty purple, that gorgeous hot pink, and that pretty, almost a tangerine color. Now, it did also have a pretty yellow, and it had a pretty orange, not quite so peachy. It was more of a bold orange, but I thought these three colors were magnificent together, and so that's what spurred me to choose all of the other colors I went with. I'm going to start out with a little bit of the peachy colored wax, and I'm going to take it and just break it into smaller pieces, and I'm going to nestle it around these hydrangeas. And the wonderful part about wax is it's pretty hardy. It's going to last pretty good. Now I say that, and you really need to buy it in season, because if you buy it off season, it's going to shed pretty badly. So you want to be careful with purchasing it, because sometimes it will shed. Right now, wax flower is in season, so it's really fun to get wax. So I'm just coming in and I'm adding some of this beautiful wax flower into my arrangement. Now I like to just break those woody stems, remove any of the greenery or blooms that might fall below the water line, and just tuck it right into my vase. Now, when you get wax flower, if it's not tinted, often it comes in more pastel shades. It doesn't come this bold and pretty. It comes in whites and pinks, a little bit of lavender, but nothing ever quite this bold. And so it's really fun to get this pretty bold wax flower. Now I have a couple of small pieces. I'm going to put them to the side. For us here at our flower shop, we do a lot of everyday floral work. And so when you have shorter pieces, I put them in a small vase in our cooler, and when we're making like a bubble bowl design, we can pull out this wax and use it in smaller bubble bowl designs. I'm going to come in with our pretty hot pink, and we're going to add a little bit of that in. Again, I'm going to strip off the bottom pieces, cut that stem at an angle, tuck some of that beautiful hot pink in there. Now all of this wax flower came from Budsy. All of the flowers we're using today came from a company called Budsy. Now I buy my flowers directly from the grower, and I find I get the highest quality, longest lasting flowers by buying them directly from the grower. I have been purchasing from Budsy, gosh, I don't even know how many years, but lots of years. Okay, there's our pretty hot pink. And next we're going to come in with a pop of this beautiful purple. And this purple is so pretty and vibrant and fun. Honestly, this arrangement reminds me a lot of the Day of the Dead, which is kind of, which is very October seasoned. And it reminds me of the movie Coco with all those bold, beautiful colors. They use lots of bold, really pretty colors. And this wax flower is so perfect for that occasion. All right, so there's our pretty mixed wax flower. That's already pretty. Next, we're going to come in with some stock. So this is a pretty fuchsia colored stock. So we're going to put a little bit of line flower with our stock. I'm going to set the rest of my wax to the side. We're going to take our stock and use it as our line. So I'm going to take my floral knife, cut that stem at an angle, and just nestle it right down into my arrangement. Now stock smells really pretty. It has a nice fragrance. It's not an overwhelming fragrance like lilies often have you know, a bit of an overwhelming fragrance, where lilies will fill the room with a pretty fragrance. Waxflower doesn't necessarily do that, but it does smell lovely. And so if you stick your nose to it, it really smells really pretty. It comes in lots of colors, purples and pinks. This beautiful fuchsia, a white, a yellow, a peach. So it comes in lots of pretty colors, and you will see us use it often here at our flower shop, and it's just because I really like it. Next, we're going to use some disc buds. So these are in the chrysanthemum family, just a really pretty purple disc bud. Now disc buds also come in lots of colors, in bold yellows, this beautiful plum color, greens, and just lots of fun colors. Now the wonderful part about a mum is it's really long lasting, and it is a really great dupe for a dahlia. There are so many chrysanthemums that resemble dahlias, and so you can look and see the different varieties. The only reason I like to use it to substitute for a dahlia is strictly because dahlias are really fragile. They don't last really long. They're very short-lived, and so I don't love that about a fancy flower. I would way rather spend less money on a chrysanthemum that I know is going to last and be beautiful than lots of money on a dahlia that's not going to last. So I tucked in several stems of that pretty purple disc bud. One more right down here. Okay, next we are going to come in with, I chose these fantastic hot pink roses. So these are called Pink Floyd roses, and I mean, they are amazing. Like, it's just beautiful on their own. But to pop it with all of these beautiful colors, I thought it would really make me happy. Now, the wonderful part about the Pink Floyd, it's a really large headed rose. You can see that, I mean, it's probably a 3-inch head in its size, and it opens really large and really pretty. You can see how pretty that one is beginning to open. So what I'm going to do is take some wire, some florist wire, and I am going to wire their heads. I'm going to cut my wires in half really quickly because I don't really need a long wire. So I'm going to take my little wire, and I am going to scoot my arrangement over a little bit. I'm going to take it and I'm going to press it right into the calyx of the rose and then twist it right around that stem. I'm going to pull off any of the greenery that might fall below the water line, but leave it on if you possibly can. If it's not going to fall below that water line, leave that pretty greenery on the stem. And I tell you, the reason is it didn't cost you extra to have that extra little pop of greenery. I am taking my floral knife and I'm removing any of these thorns. They just bite, and so that's the reason I'm removing those. Take and remove any of the petals that don't look pretty. Just pull those right off. It's not going to hurt your rose. And then I'm taking my tiny little piece of wire, pressing it into that calyx, and then wrapping it around that stem. Now, my reasoning to add that wire is it's just insurance to hold that little heavy head up. Sometimes your flowers don't get quite enough water. Sometimes when flowers are delivered to a home, people don't realize they're to care for their flowers. There is a regimen of care that helps to make the flowers last longer. So flowers need to be watered every day. Add fresh water to your flowers every single day. And every other day, if you will pull those stems out, give them a really good cut. Clean out your vase. Pour all that water out and add fresh water to your vase, and then drop your flowers right back down into the water. Your flowers will last so much longer. As the flowers start to fade, you're going to want to pull the faded blooms out of your arrangement. This will also help with the length of time your flowers will last. So just about finished wiring my roses. But this little tiny piece of wire and this quick little action is just going to guarantee that my heads will never dip. Whether they get water or not, they're not going to dip. What happens is when the stems get dehydrated, if they don't have quite enough water, that stem gets real limp and they'll dip. Their heads are heavy, and those stems have a hard time holding up their heads. And so this little wire just gives us that little added support to that stem. All right, I wired all my pink roses. Now we're going to take and tuck those right into this beautiful arrangement. Using my floral knife, I'm cutting that stem at an angle. I'm going to nestle that beautiful pink rose right down into the center of that arrangement. I don't know what it is about an added Pink Floyd rose that makes all arrangements so much prettier. And it's funny because I am really not a pink girl, but what is it about that pink that just makes all of those other colors just pop? So I'm going all the way around in this arrangement and adding these pretty pink roses. This one's a little short, so I'm going to pull him out and tuck it right back here in the back of my arrangement. I'm going to leave some length on my stem this time because I cut it a little short. Leave some length on that stem. All right, I'm going to turn the arrangement around so you can see how pretty it is on the back side also. So I want this to be an all the way around arrangement where if you set it on a table or a desk, you can go all the way around it and see how pretty it is on both sides. So next what we're going to do is show you what other flowers we have. We have these beautiful yellow Alstroemeria lilies. Now, they're not quite open, but they are showing their pretty yellow color. I like to use a lily that doesn't have its blooms completely open because that's an added extra. It means those lilies are going to slowly open over time, and you get to see your arrangement change and bloom as the time passes. Alstroemeria lilies are also called Peruvian lilies, and they're very long lasting. So I am just going to take my Alstro and I am going to remove all the greenery that's down that stem. I'm going to take it, cut it at an angle, and I'm just going to nestle these lilies right down into this arrangement. Now let me say, I'm not making them really my focal flower strictly because they're not bloomed out. They're not at their prime stage right now. But they will open and they will be magnificent in this arrangement. I like to use different blooms that have different opening times, and that way your arrangement has a lot of stages of opening as you get to enjoy it. Alstros come in every color in the rainbow, just about, except blue, purples and yellows and greens and orange and reds, all of the colors. And so they're really a nice, inexpensive flower that works great as a little added touch into a beautiful arrangement. And again, they are just so long lasting that it's really fun to use them. All right, and to finish off this arrangement with flowers, we're going to add a few orange Babe spray roses. Again, a spray rose is one of those that has varying stages of buds, and so they'll slowly open with time, making your arrangement last longer. We love to use the Orange Babe Spray Roses. We have them, we get them very, very often. And so I just think that this added pop of orange is a perfect happy color, really for any season, except maybe Christmas. But it's just a really fun added pop of color to an arrangement. All right, after our flowers are all added, we are going to add a little bit more foliage to this arrangement. So I chose some holly fern, beautiful holly fern. Holly fern, if you look at it, the reason it's called holly fern is because it really looks a lot like holly. Now the wonderful part is it doesn't bite like holly does. So I'm going to take those stems, cut them, and nestle a little bit of this holly fern right down into this arrangement. So I like to use different varieties of greenery because it just adds a different texture here and there. And it's just so pretty. It's hard to go wrong with different types of greenery. Look how pretty they are. Just such pretty fronds. I tend to get a little carried away with our cooler and order too much greenery. And so I'll have to say, I can't buy any more greenery until we use this up. Next, we're going to use a little bit of Italian ruscus. So Italian ruscus, there are two different varieties that we get in of ruscus. Italian is the longer, a little more, it's pricey. It's not an inexpensive foliage, but it's a beautiful foliage. And so I actually ordered some in for a wedding, and so that's why we have it in our cooler. There is also a variety called Israeli ruscus. Israeli ruscus is going to be short, more compact. It doesn't have the really pretty flowy effect that the Italian ruscus has. And so it's just, and it's inexpensive. So you can really get it for a good price, and it's a good tuck-in greenery. But the Italian is so fancy and so pretty and really elevates an arrangement, in my personal opinion. So look at all these fun, bold colors. I just kind of mixed and matched the colors just to make such a fun and beautiful arrangement. I used blooms that had varying opening times or stages of openness so that my arrangement would last longer. And I used different foliages, different filler flowers to give us a different texture and color and style. Guys, thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions about how we make flowers here at Flowers by the Bunch, or anything that we do at Flowers by the Bunch, you can always ask. We would love to answer your questions. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up, and if you have any questions, be sure to drop them right here in the comments. If you have not already subscribed to our channel, hit that subscribe button right down below. And if you'll hit the bell, you'll get notifications for when we have a new video. Guys, thank you so much. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.